Hey guys, Dennis here. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's raining, and we're in my garage. So I just wanted to make a little video here to kind of explain where I've been this year, because it hasn't been making videos, that's for sure. And I'm gonna get right down into it. So earlier this year, and first of all, it shouldn't be a surprise, but I do make a little bit of money off of these YouTube videos from ad revenue. I mean, it's not much. It's after taxes, it's pocket change, but it does help me complete some projects that I wouldn't otherwise be able to do. Like one of them over here is the foundry that stalled out. This is actually my last real project video that I posted, and well, I'll get into that later. But anyway, earlier this year, I saw that my view count and my watch time went down pretty much overnight by like a third. And usually when that happens, from what I've read, is that YouTube is changing up their algorithms. And now that's directly tied to ad revenue, so of course my revenue got cut down to about a third of what it was. And like, again, let me tell you, it's not much, but I was hoping for it to pay for the castable refractory that I needed for finishing up my foundry project. So, you know, let me be clear. YouTube's a company. They do what they need to make money. They're going to adjust stuff. I don't blame them for anything. Not to get too personal, but I kind of had a lot of stuff going on in my life at the time that, well, you make a video and you put it out there, it's like fishing, right? You don't know how it's going to do, and then you just sit there and wait, and you watch the views. And that's what I was doing. I was watching the view counts, watching the watch time, seeing the comments that came in, and everything. I realized I was kind of relying on that too much. Like I was basing my day on that almost, you know, of something to look forward to. And so I realized that wasn't a good thing. You know, you shouldn't be tied to numbers, and more importantly, something that's out of your control to make you feel good. So that's the main reason, is that I was putting too much into that, and then when I saw that, you know, stuff went south, it bothered me way more than it should have, and so I took a step back and said, you know, let's figure out why I'm really doing these videos. Number two, time. I have 2 kids. I don't know how you YouTubers do it when I see, you know, these prolific guys out there posting these awesome videos all the time, and they got families. I don't know what their situation is, but recently this year I just haven't had a lot of time. And let me get to this. My truck broke down, and it was out of commission for quite a while. And the first time, because it's broken down twice now, this wiring harness, turns out, got loose, and it was sitting on a bracket back there, wore through a wire, and was shorting out one of the really important wires, and blowing a fuse all the time. And that took me, oh God, that took me weeks to track down, and I had to pull all this stuff apart because I didn't know what it was. And finally I realized, you know, I traced it down to one wire, but then I had to trace the wire the entire length of the wiring harness. And so I found it, wrapped it in electrical tape. It was like a 2-cent fix, and then I was on my way. So super happy about that. But then about a week of driving to work, I get down the road about a mile, and the engine heat light is overheating. And so I'm like, that's weird. So, you know, it then comes back down, and it goes up, and so come to find out, long story short, I didn't have hardly any coolant in there, and because it was I thought maybe I just lost it when I took some coolant hoses, but no. Filled it back up, and a couple days later it went back down. I did the whole dye thing and looking for a leak and everything, couldn't find one. And long story short, it's the head gasket. That's all it can be, because it's just drinking that coolant and white smoke out the tailpipe. Oh yeah, so, and this is interesting too. Did a compression test. I'm going to get a little bit into mechanics because that's what I feel like talking about right now, as you can see. So I did a compression test on this guy, and actually didn't seem too bad. Two of the cylinders were like maybe 150 psi, and then the number 1 and 2 were 180, and it seemed like it should be worse than that. And then I did like a poor man's pressure test of the coolant system, and the way I did that, I don't, they make adapters here and everything. Just took this hose off and hooked it up to my my air compressor and just blew some compressed air in there, and then see if it would leak. I didn't really notice any drastic leaks that way. Yeah, it did leak out loose pressure, but more importantly, when I took the air off, the coolant that came back into here, I smelled into the reservoir, and I was like, holy crap, that smells exactly like gasoline. So my compression test must have been blowing some gasoline back into the coolant system. So yeah. So here's where we're at. I'm in the process of removing the head to have it looked at and serviced, and then new head gasket, putting this all back together. But back to YouTube. So yeah, so all this going on, fixing my truck and everything. Thought about filming it. The thing about filming anything is that it ends up taking me at least twice as long. And if it's just a project, it's more important for me to share it with you guys than for it to get done, quickly. But now when I had real things I had to do, I just can't film it and get it done in the time I need to. So I didn't film a lot of probably interesting stuff that I did because of that reason. But I did try, if you saw, I did a couple live streams to try that out, to see if that might be a good way to capture some little tidbits of stuff. Might be interesting. But number 3, production quality. So like I said, I make a little bit of money, and I usually just spend it back on projects and stuff. And one of the things I bought is an audio recorder, and I got this little lapel mic here. And I've been really trying to make an effort to make the quality of my videos as good as I can. And that means kind of like my workflow has kind of gotten out of hand. So I have this set up here, and this is my main camera, and it's not great. It's okay, but it's just HD, and I'm really pushing the limits of it. It makes okay video, but it's something that I'm not super happy with the quality. And lately it's been kind of like losing focus and stuff, and I don't know if that's from maybe welding in front of it too much or something. I have no idea, but yeah. And usually there's like a microphone up here. And so anyway, my workflow is like, I record with this guy, and I have like one audio track coming in from this microphone, and then I'll have this this lapel mic, and I record to like an external little audio recorder, and then I have to sync up the audio from the lapel mic onto the video. This is a screen that's supposed to help me frame my shots a little bit better. This is all just kind of cheaply, thrown together for only a few dollars, like what I can afford. I spent some money on some lights, trying to get the lighting better. I don't know if you noticed, but over here I did make an effort to kind of like, oh, it's a mess now. To make somewhat of a backdrop and have kind of like a regular space to do videos in. My bench right now is this way so that my truck can fit in the garage, but before it was like lengthwise and I could stand there, and I had this whole, you know, whole setup over here to film from this side, and well, the process just got really cumbersome. So I kind of, it took more and more time for me to make these videos, and then it made me not want to make them even more because I had the setup and everything. So, and I don't have the money for a good camera, which I really thought I'd have by this time. So I just don't want to use this one anymore. I've even been trying to like do some stuff with my GoPro, although the wide angle isn't really conducive to all the shots that you need, so it's not really great. I did buy, and I'm just going to kind of walk around the garage here to give you guys something to look at, because I know it's not really that fun when you go and ramble on. But I did get a drone this year, and I spent way too much money that I really didn't have, and haven't used it all that much, but I've been trying to find ways to incorporate it. Again, that's one more thing to edit in to the video, so yeah, it takes time. It takes time to set up the drone, to fly it and everything. It's kind of a whole thing, but it does make some pretty awesome footage for the right scene. So yeah, I think that's really all I got. I just wanted to kind of explain my thought process for, you know, why I kind of gave up YouTube for a little bit. So I'm working on my truck this week, and probably next week, and maybe the week after that. And so that's the only thing I have going on right now. But I have kind of come to a couple points here where I thought it might be cool to share a couple things with the world, with the community here. And so I think I might make a couple short videos, and I'm doing this all on my cell phone with the lapel mic just right into it. And I got to give credit to a YouTuber called Jeremy Fielding. I mentioned him before on the washing machine video, but I watched a video of his recently after he came back from a YouTube event, and it kind of inspired me to rethink what I was doing with these videos, and you know, why am I putting off creating a video because I don't have a 4K camera and I'm not really happy with the quality. You know, how can I just streamline my workflow so that I can just get, you know, content out to you guys? And his video, he's walking around his neighborhood with a lapel mic and his cell phone camera, and I was like, you know, I watched that whole damn video, and I didn't care about the handheld cell phone, you know, quality, and I liked what he had to say. So so I thought I'm going to give this a shot, and you know, honestly, like, this cell phone is probably the best camera I have right now. It's not 4K. I mean, the drone is probably the best camera I have right now, but that'd be a little bit silly to film everything with the drone. It doesn't even have an audio input, so. Now I'm rambling. Okay, so I'm going to be working on my truck this week, and I'm going to make a couple short videos about some tips that I find along the way, and we're going to see how that goes. And after that, maybe YouTube will finally pay me again one of these days, and I can get more castable refractory, and then this will be the project again. And I can't believe it's winter again, and this thing still hasn't gotten fired up. The issue is that I don't have enough stuff. I need to finish the lid. It just has the ceramic fiber stuff on it. I need to coat that and then fire it up, and then hopefully melt some metal. I also want to get around to milling some boards. I'm not going to march outside in the dark. You probably won't be able to see anyway, but mill some of the boards that or plane some of the boards that I'd milled on my sawmill. So if you made it this far into the video, yeah, I'm still thinking about sawmill videos. and probably more relevant, I want to mill up or plane up some of the boards and start put them in my shop here and getting rid of like this structural stuff and using this rack, and I can actually maybe start doing some woodworking projects with it. So so that'll be cool. All right, so if you are a subscriber and you're watching this because you got notified, that's so awesome. I think a lot of my views are people stumbling on this channel. So let me know in the comments what you think. If you're still with me after almost a year of silence, or if you stumbled on this video and you actually made it this far through listening to me talk for some reason, let me know why. And look for some slightly shorter videos coming out, same quality, with some tips on the truck. And yeah, and we'll see you next time.